Secretary of State told federal cybersecurity officials, quote, "I don't trust you," according to the nonprofit news organization Vote Beat. During a national election security call, Adrian bluntly questioned whether states will still get help from Washington to protect upcoming elections, and he reportedly unloaded on the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency. Arizona's Secretary of State, Adrian is with us live now from Scottsdale. Mr. Secretary, welcome to The Story Is for the first time.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
What happened in that meeting, and why don't you trust them?
Well, the meeting was convened by National Association of Secretaries, usually very bipartisan, and usually these meetings are not reported on because we get to speak with candor. But when somebody talked to the press, I came out and said, yeah, I'll talk about what I said and confirm that. The reason I don't trust a lot of these folks at this stage of the game goes back just a little over a year and a half when the second Trump administration eviscerated the duties and the capacity for CISA to help state and local elections officials. And then we started seeing the lawsuits and the illegal demands for voter records. And then we started seeing the threats, not just from the Department of Justice, but from the Secretary of Homeland Security himself. And this coupled with that complete abandonment of duty, negation of resources. Now at the last second, they want to call one of these meetings and say, hey, we're the federal government, we're here to help. I don't trust these folks. I just don't, and particularly because they've been threatening us with criminal prosecution just for doing our jobs. Would you trust them? I don't think so.
So what was their response to your concerns? You say, I don't trust you. What do they say back?
Well, I mean, their response was sort of a nothing burger. It was just like, well, you know, we're going to continue to try to work to build communication and so forth. It was a little weaselly and mealy mouthed. I mean, what are you going to do when somebody confronts you with the reality of your bad faith? When somebody confronts you directly and says, I'm not going to just sit here and take it. I'm going to push back on behalf of my voters and voters across the entire country. This is, in my view, what is necessary at this point in time, since CISA and the Department of Homeland Security have not just abandoned state and local elections officials, but all of our voters as well. They've got to be told the truth, and they have the job now because they abandoned us, because they took those resources away. Resources, by the way, that were started to be built up during the first Trump administration. So give credit where credit is due. We need them, and they need us probably more than we need them because we've really kind of rebuilt these systems. So I do want to assure folks, our elections are going to go forward. They're going to be fine, but we'd be in a lot better shape if we'd had a federal government that we could trust.
And people, when they hear CISA, that's the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. People may remember back in 2020, it was led by a guy named Chris Krebs, who came out publicly and said that the election was safe and secure, and there was not problems with it. And after that, President Trump was very upset because, of course, he has been claiming consistently that the election was rigged and that he won, not Joe Biden, even though he hasn't put forth evidence with that. So what is the biggest thing that you are worried about in terms of the 2026 midterm election? What's the flag that you're waving now?
Well, for the state's perspective, I think we're in pretty good shape. What I'm really worried about is that we no longer have that federal coordination, that federal convening in CISA. Because of the fact that they've totally abandoned us, they don't have our eyes or our ears anymore. We were the #1 source of their intelligence gathering in the first place. We would tell them when systems needed updating. If there was a bug in a particular software that was used in multiple states, they would gather that information, distribute it across the country, and help react very quickly. They got a lot more information from us than we ever really got from them, but they did coordinate with us. They helped us do the trainings. And so it's really this weakness at the federal level that now exists because they've abandoned their duty to the states. This is supposed to be a partnership with the states running elections and the federal government putting forth the assistance and coordination that only the federal government can give. It is not supposed to be an adversarial relationship where they let us do our own thing, abandon us without resources, and then threaten us with criminal prosecution. That's not how partners work together. And so I think the biggest weakness we have now is that self-inflicted wound of this administration's in eviscerating their own capacity to react when it comes to threats, either internal or external to the United States of America, and to protect our voters and our voting systems.
Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes, who runs the elections in Arizona. He's himself on the ballot in November. And of course, Arizona could be the most important swing state come 2028. And who runs the elections in that state could be very, very important for the future of this country. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective. Great to have you here on This Story Is.
Thanks for having me.